The studio floor buzzed with restless anticipation. Cameras lined up like silent sentinels waiting for their cue. A wave of chatter rippled through the audience. A full house today, filled with die-hard country fans and daytime TV regulars. The lights glowed warm, the stage polished to perfection, and the hosts of The View sat poised behind their curved glass table, coffee mugs lined up like chess pieces. The energy was high. Producers had been hyping this episode all week. Blake Shelton, the country superstar himself, was here. And anytime a blunt, outspoken celebrity met Joy Behar live on camera, sparks tended to fly. As the countdown began in the control room, Whoopi Goldberg leaned back in her chair, half smiling, half sighing. "All right, folks," she said under her breath to her co-hosts. "Let's try not to scare off the cowboy before the second segment." Joy Behar, already wearing that mischievous smirk, laughed. "Oh, please, I'm on my best behavior today. I like Blake. He's funny, he drinks, he's married to Gwen Stefani. He can handle me." Sarah Haynes gave her a wary look. "Joy, that's what you said before the Mark Wahlberg interview." The floor manager's fingers counted down from 5. The studio hushed, lights brightened, and the theme music faded into applause. Whoopi's smooth voice carried over the noise. "Welcome back to The View. Our next guest is a Grammy-winning country star, a coach on The Voice, and one of America's most beloved musicians. Please welcome Blake Shelton." The audience erupted. Blake walked out grinning, tall and relaxed, his casual charm radiating like sunlight. Dressed in faded jeans, a dark blazer, and his signature boots, he waved to the crowd before greeting the hosts. "How y'all doing?" he said with a wide Oklahoma drawl. "Better now," Joy quipped, her tone half flirt, half tease. "You clean up pretty good for a farm boy." The audience laughed and Blake chuckled, settling into his chair. "Well, Joy, I figured I should try to match the glamour. Didn't want to track mud on y'all's fancy New York floor?" Whoopi laughed. "We appreciate the effort, cowboy." For a moment, everything was easy and light. They talked about his latest album, his life with Gwen, and how he adjusted from small-town Oklahoma to Hollywood fame. But Joy, ever the one to stir the pot, wasn't satisfied with small talk. She leaned forward, that twinkle in her eye sharper now. "So, Blake," she began, "you talk a lot about country life in your songs. Hard work, simple values, front porch wisdom. Do you ever feel a little out of place in this modern world of social media and politics?" Blake smiled politely. "Nah, not really. I just sing about what I know. I think people are getting too used to talking at each other instead of to each other. I miss the days when neighbors waved instead of arguing on Twitter." That line earned applause. But Joy tilted her head, feigning curiosity. "Sounds like you're saying the world's gone downhill since people started having opinions." The crowd tittered. Whoopi gave Joy a side eye. Blake grinned, but there was an edge to it now. "Nah, I'm saying we've gotten too loud and not enough real. You can't build community if everyone's busy yelling from behind a screen." Joy smirked. "Well, that's easy to say when your idea of community is a bunch of cows and a pickup truck." Laughter scattered awkwardly across the audience. The line was meant as a joke, but her tone landed sharper than intended. Blake's smile froze for a heartbeat. Then he leaned forward, elbows on the table. "Well, Joy, I reckon I've met a lot of good people in small towns, hardworking, kind, honest. You'd be surprised what you can learn from folks who fix their own fences instead of just tweeting about them." That comeback drew loud applause. Sarah clapped her hands together nervously, laughing too loudly. Okay, fence fixing versus tweeting. Oh, we might have a new debate topic." But Joy wasn't done. No, I'm genuinely curious," she pressed. "You talk about values, tradition, all that good old country stuff. But doesn't that kind of thinking sometimes hold people back? Like nostalgia for the good old days can sound, well, like code for wanting things the way they used to be, before change." The studio quieted. Blake blinked, then sat up straighter. "I'm not talking about politics, Joy. I'm talking about decency. About saying hi to people, helping your neighbor, taking pride in your work. Ain't nothing political about that." Joy raised an eyebrow. "Oh, come on, Blake. Everything's political these days, even what kind of beer you drink. You of all people should know that." He chuckled, but the warmth had drained from his face. Well, I guess that's part of the problem. If we can't talk about music or life without turning it into a fight, maybe we're all too wound up, Whoopi interjected smoothly. Let's not fight. I think Blake's just saying he misses connection, Joy. But Joy, sensing she had an audience, smiled wider. I hear you. I just think sometimes people romanticize the past a little too much. You can't go back, Blake. Not even to the front porch. The air went still. The laughter from the audience died away completely this time. Blake looked at her. Really looked at her. With that quiet, unimpressed stare countrymen had perfected over centuries of putting up with city arrogance. You know, he said finally, his voice low but steady, where I come from, front porches are where you welcome people, not where you mock 'em. That line hit like a hammer. The audience gasped, then cheered. Even Whoopi gave a surprised, whoa, under her breath. Joy's smile faltered, but she kept up her composure, giving a light, dismissive laugh. Oh, don't get so sensitive, cowboy. It's just talk. The commercial break ended with the hum of studio tension thick in the air. The lights came back up, but this time the smiles at the table were forced. The audience sensed it. That uneasy energy that hangs right before something breaks. Producers stood just off camera, exchanging glances, whispering into headsets, hoping things would smooth over when the cameras rolled again. Whoopi, ever the peacekeeper, took a deep breath and plastered on a grin as the music faded. Welcome back to The View. We're here with country music superstar Blake Shelton, talking about his new album and life on The Voice. Her tone was breezy, an effort to move things along, but everyone could tell she was tiptoeing around the elephant in the room. Blake nodded politely, but his relaxed Oklahoma warmth had cooled into something else, firm, steady, unreadable. He shifted in his seat, glancing briefly at Joy Behar, who, for her part, looked entirely unbothered. She smiled like nothing had happened, tapping her pen against her note cards. Whoopi continued, So, Blake, tell us about this new record. I heard you recorded some of it back home in Oklahoma. Blake leaned into his microphone. Yeah, ma'am. I like to go home to work. There's something about being out where it's quiet. No traffic, no studios packed with executives. Just the land, the music, and the people. That sounds peaceful, Sarah said, nodding with genuine interest. Blake smiled faintly. It is. I think folks forget what peace sounds like. Unless it's the sound of your neighbor's tractor at 6 a.m., Joy cut in, chuckling at her own joke. The audience laughed nervously, but there was hesitation in it this time. They weren't sure if they were supposed to. Blake glanced at her, his eyes sharp beneath the studio lights. You'd be surprised how good that sounds when it means someone's working hard. That line drew an appreciative ooh from the audience. Whoopi put up her hands. Okay, easy now. We're keeping it friendly. But Joy didn't let go. I'm friendly. I'm just saying some of us enjoy city life. You know, coffee shops, conversations, culture. Not everyone wants to sit on a porch with a beer talking about the weather. Blake chuckled, but this time it was humorless. And that's fine, Joy. But where I come from, folks don't need fancy coffee to have a real conversation. You can talk about life over a glass of sweet tea and still mean what you say. The crowd clapped again, a little louder now, not just at his wit, but at the subtle sting in his tone. The tension was no longer hidden. It was breathing in every corner of the room. Joy folded her arms, her smile thinning. Well, you know me. I'm a straight shooter, too. I just think sometimes people wrap their ideas in small-town charm to make them sound sweeter than they are. Blake's brows knit together. What's that supposed to mean? It means, Joy said, still smiling for the cameras, when people say simple values, sometimes that's code for being resistant to progress. The air went still. Even Whoopi stopped moving for a second, her mouth slightly open as if to jump in, but she hesitated. Blake's face changed, the easygoing grin gone, replaced by something steelier. Joy, he said slowly, his southern drawl dipping low. I've heard a lot of folks say stuff like that. Usually from people who've never had to live the kind of life they're looking down on. The audience gasped, and the soundboard tech didn't even bother to lower it. The moment was electric. Joy leaned forward. "Oh, I'm not looking down on anyone, Blake. I'm just saying we can't pretend everything in small-town America is perfect." "I never said it was perfect," he shot back, his voice rising just a notch. "I said it's real. People there don't hide behind politics or cameras. They just get up, go to work, take care of each other. That's not some slogan. That's life." "Sure," Joy said, waving a hand, "as long as you fit in. But God forbid you think differently or don't look the part, eh?"